Hi, I'm Kristin Health, and I'm here to talk to you today about engorgement and weaning. So, the first time I was pregnant, unfortunately, ended in a 26-week stillbirth. And what's really tragic is when you have that late of a loss, even if it's your first pregnancy, your milk comes in. And some women, God bless their souls, they decide to donate milk to other needy infants, and that's so beautiful. I thought about doing that, but since I was older, I thought that I really couldn't bear the time loss. But if you are a younger mother that has had a loss, that is just such a beautiful thing to do to commemorate your child. And I thought about it briefly, but I decided to go ahead and wean. It was a very difficult time. One of the biggest tips that I have, not only when I was trying to stop my milk from coming in, but also anytime I got super engorged during the first early days of postpartum, is just cabbage leaves. And it's so weird and so gross, but you put a fresh, cold cabbage leaf in your bra, and it just kind of helps calm down that engorgement. Now, it can decrease your supply, so if you're concerned about supply, it may not be a good choice. But in the instance of the stillbirth, it really helped me become more comfortable and help that engorgement calm down. And I'll be honest, for my second, I did use it postpartum just because I knew that I had tended towards an oversupply in my first postpartum. And so I wasn't really worried about supply. And my son, he's very high percentile. My second son, he's very large and big. So I think he was getting plenty of milk. But just for my own comfort, I did use some cabbage leaves for a little bit just to calm the engorgement until my breast milk kind of settled down and calmed down. But I love that tip. It is so disgusting. I know it sounds so weird and it's so disgusting, but I love the cabbage leaves in your bra tip. The other thing is I think it's really important to kind of see the whole picture of your breastfeeding journey. And, like my first pregnancy, in my first postpartum, I didn't have the full picture. I was just like, well, I'll do at least 6 months and kind of go from there. So I didn't really have the full picture in mind. But, definitely the second son, I was a little bit more calculated. And I think it's really good to kind of have the full picture in mind and just be gradually decreasing throughout time. So I talked about this in another video, but for instance, when I'm pumping, at first I'm going to expect an oversupply, especially if you're pumping a lot. But that's awesome because then you save up all this milk, and then at a certain point, then you decrease down to just, so I would originally do 3 pumps per day while I was at working, and then I would decrease to 2 pumps and then 1 pump and then stop at 1 year or so. Then when I just reduced to no pumping and only breastfeeding, then I would do three breastfeeds and then 2 and then 1. And then if you do that for a while and over time, by the end you're barely producing anything. And so when you stop, you can tell, you can like hand express and see how much is coming out, and you can tell it's starting to decrease, especially over time. And then when you stop, there isn't this engorgement. It's not a really painful process. You just stop and then it just kind of just goes away. So it's good to kind of think about the full picture and how you're going to wean, if you can. I mean, sometimes there's like an emergency surgery, or there's some kind of emergency where you have to be separated and you don't have a chance to pump. So it may not always work out perfectly for everyone. But if you do have the ability to kind of plan out your breastfeeding, that's ideal, because then there's no, it's good on your body to kind of gradually decrease. But I hope those breastfeeding weaning tips helped you. I think the hardest thing is the emotional thing of stopping, because there is just an emotional connection you have, and that is super hard. But at least the physical, you can make it so it's easier. Again, I'm Kristin Health, and I hope you have a great day.